Shalom, brothers and sisters, giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. My name is Yeshaya Yisrael, of the tribe of Dan of the nation of Israel. This particular teaching, brothers and sisters, is due to the fact that there are teachers, leaders, brothers, and sisters in the knowledge of Israel that teach, sing, by using terminologies such as saying My Yah. What this particular teaching here is, it's not going to be very long. But what this particular teaching here will address, brothers and sisters, is the fact that we cannot grammatically correctly say My Yah. That's what this particular teaching is about. Next slide. Oh, what you're seeing on the left-hand side, brothers and sisters, is Yah. All right? So that way that could be known for edification purposes. The letter you see here with the arrow there, brothers and sisters, is the letter Yod. This is called a Quamat vowel, and next to it is a Hey. We got to remember that Hebrew is read from right to left. All right? So that way we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about for edification purposes. Okay? Next slide. The aspect of my, left-hand side, my, of or relating to me or myself, especially as possessor, agent, object of an action or familiar person. What we are seeing right there, brothers and sisters, is the fact that my, the word itself, my, okay, is showing possession of something. My hand, my book, my desk, my pen, my mother, my father. Second person possession is your, be it you speaking to a female or a male, your pen, your book, your mother, your father. We cannot grammatically say My Yah, since Yah in meaning is in reference to the Most High. And we cannot say His Yah or her Yah. Brothers and sisters, if we were to be able to grammatically correctly say My Yah in Hebrew, then we should be able to also say His Yah or her Yah. You understand? Yah is a name. One cannot correctly, in grammar, say my Moses, my Aaron. So we know we cannot say My Yah. Now, we want to emphasize, brothers and sisters, that when you find Israelites that do say My Yah, he or she is not in his or her own heart attempting to disrespect the authority and the position of the Most High. You understand? But what has happened, getting out of the English of saying we won't say terminology such as God and Lord, you understand? We understand to say Yah, but we want to be grammatically correct in Hebrew. So now when we understand, as opposed to the English terminologies Lord and God, we're saying Yah, we know also in Hebrew, while we're on the aspect of trying to be as correct as possible, we cannot grammatically correctly say My Yah because there's no Hebrew way of saying My Yah. Next slide. So personalization. To show personalization in Hebrew, in the first person, my, the suffix yod is shown as in the red here. Now, what we're looking at, brothers and sisters, right, is this letter here that's in the red shows it to be the first person possession, be it male or female in this particular case. All right. Now, remembering that Hebrews read from right to left, the yod, the dalet, and then you got the yod, yadi. Yadi, as we are pointing out, all right, means my hand. This is when showing a masculine noun in first person possession. So if a female is speaking of her hand, she's saying that is my hand, she would say the word yadi, as well as a male would say the same. Let's look at the right side of this. Yad. The word we see here is yad. The word means hand. Yadi. The word we see here is yadi. The word means my hand. So when we're showing first person possession, we're saying my whatever. Had it been Ima, which means mother, it would be Imi, which means my mother. Had it been son, which is the Hebrew word ben, it would have been Beni. You understand? Had it been Bat, which is the word for daughter, it would be BT. Now I want to emphasize something, not getting sidetracked or anything like that. In Hebrew, because there's another conversation about whether Hebrew has vowels or not, you cannot have a language without any sounds. Sounds, when they are written, are referred to as vowels, be it a short vowel or a long vowel. You understand? All languages have vowels. That's something we want to point out in that particular regard. Okay? Let's go on, if we will, to the next slide. El and Eli in the name Yah. Let's look at the left-hand side of this. We see here, brothers and sisters, right? The word El, the Aleph, the Zere, and the Lamed. The word we see there is El, and it means might, power, strength, and is translated also as judge or ruler. The common translation of El is God. Eli, the word we see there is Eli, and it means my God. Now, this is what we want to point out. The word El, meaning God, all right, you find that in the book of Numbers, chapter 23, for instance, or in the book of Genesis, where Jacob named the place Beit El, which means house of God. All right. We see, brothers and sisters, Eli, meaning my God. You find that in the book of Psalms of chapter 22. So these are things we want to point out. So you can show in even the English translation, God, my God, but you cannot show where it says Yah or my Yah or his Yah or her Yah. You understand? This is something we want to point out in that particular case. Now let's look at the right-hand side where it says Yah. Remember, in Hebrews, read from right to left. The above says Yah. One cannot say Yahi as if one is showing possession of Yah. Thus, one cannot say my Yah grammatically correct. This is the point we want to emphasize, because just as much, brothers and sisters, looking at this slide here, we can see Yadi, which means my hand. But yet in Hebrew, we can see Eli, which means my God. But you're not going to find in the scriptures or in any literature where Yah, in reference to the creator and maker of heaven and earth, where you can say Yahi or Yah Sheli. You understand? So therefore, we cannot say even in English, my Yah or his Yah. Let's go back, if we will. You see this right here with the word Yadi, my hand, Yado, his hand, Yada, her hand. I pointed those kind of things out with the word Yad in the book that I wrote. For those who are interested, you can go online and get it. But getting back into this particular aspect here, Yadi, meaning my hand, Eli, as we see here, meaning my God. You're not going to be able to show where you can show and have it to be shown Yah Sheli or Yahi. So therefore, since that is not correct grammar in Hebrew, we cannot even then transform it to English or translate it to English by saying my Yah, because you can't then say his Yah or her Yah. You can't say his hand or her hand. You can't say his God or her God. Elohewa is the Hebrew word meaning his God. All right? You see that in the book of Leviticus chapter 21 and Leviticus 22, where it says he offered the bread of his God. You understand? Lekem Elohio, the bread of his God. You can show Eloheha, her God. You understand? But you cannot show Yah. You understand? This is the point we want to emphasize once it comes down to showing the aspect of possession in Hebrew. All right? Next slide. My L is not incorrect. In the previous slide, sorry about that. In the previous slide, we showed that God said as El, which is not a proper name, can be shown in possession, which is in the first person is my El, meaning my God, or said in Hebrew as Eli. All right, now let's understand what we're talking about, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes. Psalms 22, it says, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani, which means, my God, why hast thou forsaken me? Eli means my God. You're not going to find within the Psalms or any other part of the scriptures, all right, in which you're going to be able to show or see Yahi, because you can't show the Most High ineffable name, holy name, in the aspect of saying, this is mine. All right. So this is something, brothers and sisters, we want to point out in that particular regard. Elijah said in Hebrew is Eliyah. Some say it's Eliyahu. All right. Eliyah, brothers and sisters. Eli, my God. Yah. Yah is my God. Eliyah. Elisha, said in English as most cases as Elisha. Elisha, who was the assistant of the prophet Elijah. All right. Means my God is salvation. Eliab, you find that in the book of Numbers. Eliab means my God is Father. But we want to emphasize, just as much as you can show Eliyah, my God is Yah, you're not going to be able to show Yahi or Yashali, or trying to sit there and have the aspect, brothers and sisters, of this rule here. When showing a masculine noun in first person possession, you're not going to be able to add that, as you see there, the in the red, the letter Yod. You can't add that to the end of this here word here, Yah, and get Yahi. It doesn't work like that grammatically in Hebrew. So, brother and sister, this is not a disrespect to any brother, sister, elder, leader, more, or anyone else. You understand? What this is for edification purposes. All right. Before I did this presentation, I spoke to several Hebrew scholars in this, because I know some people will agree, some people will disagree. Some people will say, oh, okay, well, that's a bit much. Oh, okay, this or that. I wanted to make sure that I had written consent from certain Hebrew scholars, no offense intended to anybody, not just a Hebrew linguist, but a Hebrew scholar. This is what I mean by that. I don't speak on teaching Russian because I cannot read and write it. I cannot speak Russian. So the qualifications and the standard, brothers and sisters, when teaching a language, be it in college or otherwise, you must know how to speak that language. Therefore, the people I asked concerning bringing this kind of subject out were all Hebrew speakers, all of them. You understand? So these are things we want to point out for edification purposes. This is not a brother just trying to sit there and get views, trying to make a name for oneself. No, no, no. It's not like that. However, as we know good and well, English is not ours, brothers and sisters. And we know that we are saying El, we're saying Yah. We want to get back more into the Hebrew, the way of our forefathers, how they spoke, because they didn't use words like Lord and God. And there's a lot of breakdowns when it comes to the definition of such, even from the dictionaries of the word Lord and God. Then as we continue to go in that good path, let's not misunderstand that Hebrew does have a grammar to it. While we continue to go, dropping the terminology such as Lord and God, and saying instead of such Yah, saying El, we may as well just continue to go and speak the language completely well. Use that, and I like to say it as a quote, a crutch, if you will, as a standard to say, well, if you're going to drop some saying a Lord and God, then we should continue going all the way. Don't stop by just saying Yah and El. Continue going on in the language and learn it. This is something we want to point out in that particular purpose. You understand? Next slide. Next slide. Oh, the same cannot be said for Yah. Yah cannot be shown as my Yah, his Yah, grammatically correct in Hebrew. All right, as we have emphasized already. Psalm 68. Sing unto God, sing praises to his name. Extol him that rideth upon the skies, whose name is the Lord, and exalt ye before him. The Hebrew, remembering that Hebrews read from right to left, says this: Shiru lelohim, zamru shemot, solu la roque ba'arabot, b'yah shemot, we'irzu lefanayu. Now, I highlighted the part there in the Hebrew, in the blue, with the yod and the hey. Yah. And let's break this down, or expound upon, should I say, because my teachers have told me stop using the terminology break down. We should use terminology such as explain, as opposed to break down. Respect there. All right, so let's look at this. Shiru, which means sing. Lelohim, sing to God. Shiru, Lelohim. Now, why, when I did this presentation earlier, I did not speak on the terminology Elohim until I got to this part here. Let's understand that. Deuteronomy 28, verse 32. We familiar with that as Israelites, right? The part that says, this shall be no might in your hand, the word that's there is the word El, meaning might or power. So, brothers and sisters, when we are saying, brothers and sisters, El, we are speaking of the Most High God. When we're speaking, brothers and sisters, of Elohim, knowing the content in the context of the speaker and the reader and the listener, we have to know what's being spoken about. Let's expound upon what we're talking about. Elohim, brothers and sisters, in regards with the Most High, is speaking about the immensity of the Most High. It's not saying that there's a pantheon of other gods. There's not talking about a divine council, because the Most High said if he lift his hand up to heaven, there's no one else to swear to. So there is no divine council. Henotheism does not work in the Hebrew culture. So these are things, brothers and sisters, we want to point out for edification purposes. All right. Furthermore, not getting sidetracked from the discussion in the presentation, the concept and teaching of a quote divine council in the heavens, that Yah is one of the several gods that rule up there, goes against the culture of Israel. Because we have to ask these other said gods, what have they done in the world? Is there any record like Deuteronomy 28 that all Israelites talk about? Is there a redemption solution and an antidote to our people's problems like in Deuteronomy 30 that all Israelites talk about? Because when you read the Enuma Elish, when you read the Code of Hammurabi, when you read the Principles of Ma'at, when you read about the aspect of all these other cultures, going all the way from Confucius in China, all the way to the writings in Timbuktu, none of them, brothers and sisters, compare to the record left behind by the ancient Israelites according to the Most High. Where you have, if you go wrong, this will happen, what to do when the blessing and the curses happen, and how to get out of your situation. None of them have what you call a Nebi'ah or a prophecy. So this is something, brothers and sisters, we want to point out for edification purposes. The Hebrew word for virginity is betulim. The brothers and sisters who are emphasizing in their own understanding, if it has the word im, it means plural, yeah. But this is why when I presented this, I first spoke with Hebrew teachers. And I'd say this, no disrespect, not Hebrew lecturers. but Hebrew speakers and teachers. To where if you don't have a book in front of you, you can still hold a conversation. When David wrote the note and sent it through Uriah for Joab, David wasn't copying something. He didn't copy and paste nothing. You understand? So the point I'm emphasizing, brothers and sisters, is when we're dealing with a people who already have a language, we must know and understand that in speaking this language, there are rules to such. All right? Let's go on. Zamru Shemo. Sing praises to his name. Solu. This word here, solu, means extol, right? And it comes, brothers and sisters, from the Hebrew word salal. The word salal, all right, is an iron verb. And when you conjugate it, you can have the option to drop off one of the root letters. An iron verb is any verb that has the second and the third letter as the same root letter. All right, so let's go on. La roheb, to the rider upon. Ba'arabot. Now this word here, arabot, is translated as you see there as skies. But the better and more pronounced and profound, should I say, all right, definition of that word arabot means steeps. All right, let's go on. But Yah Shemo, the scriptures is showing that the ancient people did call the Most High by the name Yah. This is how you get like Yirmeyah, Yeshaya, Obadiah, Zachariah. All right, so that's not incorrect when we do so and say so. Wa ilzu lifanayu, and exalt lifanayu before him. Shemo, his name, lifanayu, before him. This is how you know, understanding Hebrew grammar, Elohim is still in the aspect of, quote, singular. Just like the word betulim, meaning virginity, is in the singular. Just because it ends with im doesn't automatically make it plural. That's just what we want to point out for the Hebrew understanding. Shemo, his name, not Shemam, their name, or Shemotam, their name. Lefanail, before him, not Lifnehem, meaning before them. See, this is how you get Hebrew grammar. This is why we're emphasizing the aspect of Hebrew grammar. All right? Next slide. Exodus 15. The Lord is my strength and song, and he has become my salvation. This is my God, and I will glorify him. My father's God, and I will exalt him. Let's look at the Hebrew. Azi wazimrat Yah. Wahili lishua. Ze eli wa an wehu. Elohe abi wa arom menhu. So what are we looking at, brothers and sisters? Azi, the word az, also said as uz, means strength. Azi means my strength. Wazimrat, and my song. Let's look at this right here. You see where the arrow is? Where zim, pardon me, where it says zamru, it comes from the word zemer, which means song. All right? So you got the Zion, the mem, the resh. That's the root of it. Then when we look right here, the Zion, the mem, and the resh. You see how that connects there? This letter you see here where the arrow is the letter tau. So if you were to drop the tau, you would have zimra, because the tau would then be a hey. What am I emphasizing? When you're showing personification, that is to say also possession of something, if it's a feminine thing, such as Isha is wife. Ishti means my wife. All right? Simla means dress. Simlati means my dress. All right? Koma means wall. Komati means my wall. All right? Zimra means song. Zimrati, my song. All right? Azi, my strength, was Zimrat, and the song of, meaning obviously the song of oneself. Yah. Yah is my strength and my song. Wahili, And he has become, li, to me, lishua. He has become to me for salvation. This word here, yehi, the yod, the hey and the yod that you see there. Its root word is the word hayah. The word hayah means to be or to exist. Now, in Hebrew, when you have this conjugated, be it past, present, future, or command form, and the next word begins with this here, lamed, to be is transformed to become. And he has become to me. And he to me has become salvation. Yeshua means salvation. All right? Ze Eli, this is my God. See, we get Eli again. Wa'an wehu, and I will beautify him and I will glorify him. Comes from the root word nawah, which means to be beautiful or to glorify. Wa'an wehu, this aleph that you see there with the patak, that aleph you see there, brothers and sisters, shows it to be in the aspect of the future tense. Nawah, the noon, the wow, and the hey, that's the root of it. Any verb that ends with the root letter hey is called a lamed hey verb. This is why before I presented this subject, I made sure I got confirmation from Hebrew scholars, because I know there will be some who will agree or disagree. The scripture says a matter is established by 2 or 3 witnesses. That's why I made sure I asked those who are older than me, who speak Hebrew better than me, who have children who speak Hebrew as well, before I presented this kind of subject. All right? Elohe Abi, the God of my father. Wa Arom Menhu, and I will exalt him. This who, as well as this who right here, is how you get the him part. All right? We spoke earlier about Jeremiah, said in Hebrew as Yah. What does that mean? Yah means what? The Most High will be exalted. Now, we see the word here, exalt. Then we see Resh, Mem, and Mem. Aram means exalted. Like Abram, said in Hebrew as Abram, means exalted father. Ram means exalted. So now the aspect of when you see one mem and then another mem, in Hebrew, we want to emphasize when a root letter is doubled, that's showing you that is being intensified. It is being something that is being put in emphasis. This is how, when people say the Old Testament contradicts itself, when you speak about David and Goliath, oh, it says that he slew Goliath twice. No, the Hebrew in 1 Samuel 17 is saying that he utterly did. Yes, he did slew him. It's that aspect of saying in English, he got rid of him. Yeah, yes, son got rid of him. He really did. You're emphasizing it in Hebrew by brothers and sisters, showing the aspect of this mem right there, because a lot of said scholars, and this is something I want to point out, I respect Russian people enough to not know how to read and speak Russian to where I won't try to teach it. But people sometimes, no offense intended, seem to think or feel, well, they're a biblical scholar, so that makes them a Hebrew scholar. No, it doesn't. With that, brothers and sisters, giving honor and praise unto the Most High, the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth, Shalom. My contact info will be in the description of this video. Shalom.